Hey, what's up then people, and welcome to what I'm hoping to be a new segment to my channel, which will probably be titled something like Why I Freaking Love, and then I'll insert the game title where I'll be talking about those games which hold a very special place in my heart. These won't be reviews, they're not going to be reviews, but just purely trips down memory lane where I'll focus on the key things that make those games so special to me. And for my first video, I've decided to invite to the party a very, very special guest, where some say that if the Dutch and the French were ever to mix together somehow, it would create a being with silky smooth hair like Crom himself, which every woman and even every man would find instantly attractive. RetroDeath, my good sir, thanks for joining me.
Hello, well, glad to be here. Man, you always talk like Shakespeare and shit, and then I feel like I start saying some things, and then like the quality just goes downhill,
Nah, it's cool, man. We're both here. We're both here because we both have a strong love, am I right, for not only one of the Super Nintendo's greatest games, but also for us, for me and you, I'm sure many other people, also one of our favorite games ever, and that is Donkey Kong Country.
Fuck yeah. I think seriously, strong love is even an understatement still for how much I love this game.
Well, that's cool, man, because we're gonna share that love right now. We're gonna share that love with Donkey Kong Country. Not that type of love. Although we all silky smooth hair. It's like I said, I might think about it, but already. Oh look, we're going downhill already, man. So let's let's not waste any more time and get straight into it. So yeah, first off, I thought we'd talk about some of our earliest memories of the game, and I'll start off, seeing as I'm the host today.
That doesn't sound fair.
Take advantage, man. Gotta take advantage. But I mean, some of my earliest memories. I mean, we're going back. I mean, I'm going back to when the game pretty much launched now, but. Some of my earliest memories was in the early magazines that I used to read, and over in the UK we had stuff like Games Master. Do you ever watch Games Master?
I don't think I even knew of that.
Yeah, you had Games Master. You had computer and video games magazines like Total magazine, stuff like that. Where I actually read more like industry-wide magazines, that just covered all consoles, and specific game magazines. Even though I had like Sega. Mean Machines and stuff like that. Those early magazines. I don't know if you remember those, but that's when I first pretty much saw the game, because obviously TV back then we didn't really have too many TV adverts for the games, but so back in those early magazines, that's where I first saw the game. And before we get into the graphics, obviously, back then, I think every single game I just loved games back then, so every single game, for the most part, just looked incredible. But, DK, when you first saw it, my God. But, in terms of, like, early memories for yourself, can you remember when you first saw it, or maybe heard of it, or?
No, it's like, there's a lot of old games that I started playing, and people are like, what are your earliest memories? And out of the certain games that, this is going to sound so weird, that just have always been a part of me. Like, I don't remember a specific moment when I started playing them. I just remember always having played them.
Yeah.
We had, I still have the the receipt for when we bought the Super Nintendo, and
Oh, really? Wow.
it must have been from somewhere around. I think it was in the 90s. I think we got it pretty late, and Donkey Kong has been a game we just always had. But what sucks is that we had it when I was a kid, and we moved several times. And at some point, one of my brothers claimed the game, and then he lent it to another one of my brothers. And then a few years ago, I was like, "Yo, where's that game? I kind of would like it back again. You guys don't use it anyway." And then I'm like, "Oh yeah, I found it like on the floor on my attic, and it was like attacked by mold. Like literally half the
Oh, no.
box was eaten by mold." And I was looking at that shit. I was like, "Dude, that's like my childhood laying there just died by mold. It's like you bastards."
Filthy hounds, man. I mean, well, when we were like, when we did play games back then, we'd I'd look after them, but I think we were still just kids as well, So you'd always, some games would always either disappear or get trashed, not on purpose. It would just happen. But,
And sometimes your mom is like, "Oh no, I didn't throw away all your old game box." It's like, yes, you did.
Yeah, I know my mum denies as well. She denies it all the time, but I know I've lost so many games because she threw some away, or they just got lost, or even the typical lending it to friends that would disappear, but certainly Donkey Kong wasn't one of those games, and I've had my original cartridge for since I had it. It's just one of those games that survived. And which is quite rare for when you go that far back to like SNES and NES games, to keep those early games. I think
it's rare to keep them.
There's only a few people who really looked after this stuff when they were kids. When we're talking my age and your age, going back then, it's really rare. But just my general excitement for the game, was just immense. And we always talk about game boxes and stuff, but going back to like the Donkey Kong game box, the excitement as well was like reading through the manual. And in the manual, in manuals all back then, you'd always have those extra stories that just filled in more of the game world that you wouldn't necessarily get in the game. Because like a lot of platform games, back then just literally just got you straight into the game.
Yeah.
But like in the DK manual, it was a full colored manual, and I got it in front of me, which is obviously pre-planned. But in the manual itself, and I might actually also like scan, some of the pages here and put them over, this so people can see. But like in the original story in the manual, it was titled like it was a dark and stormy night. And it goes like a full story on how what was going on in Donkey Kong's tree, and the Kremlins come in, to take the bananas and stuff. But man, the amount of times I read through this manual, did you ever remember reading through it, or did you?
The thing with manuals is, for the NES, I always read the manuals. I loved going through the manuals. I have a lot of memories of going through those manuals.
Yeah.
I remember often going on vacation, and always, when you went to a different country, you always brought back a game, and then, for the GameCube, you did it, for the N64, and then all the way home, you're killing the manual because you can't play the game yet.
Yeah.
But somehow, for the Super Nintendo, I have no memories except for the one from Killer Instinct. So I don't have a lot of memories for the Super Nintendo from going through the manuals.
Hey, at least that's a rare game. We're on the right track. But yeah, I mean, in the manual itself, it went into like full details, like on each like level, not every single level, but like the overall like theme of the level. They give you like background stories of those, all the characters and stuff. And like you said, even with NES games, back then, that was part of the excitement of the game. You wouldn't just play the game. Even when I wasn't, even if I was like in my bedroom, I would still like read game manuals on on my bed. Just chilling out and reading them like they were books, because like I said, they had those extra stories. I used to love that stuff. But
not just the stories. That was also the only way back then you could get like special art for the game or the characters that were really only in the manuals and nowhere else.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why that's why I loved them. And that those when I was like looking through the manual earlier and just then, that brings back the nostalgia as well. And this is what this game is just rife with absolute nostalgia, and that goes like with playing with friends or family as well. But I didn't play this game with my sister. I already got a sister. I actually I played this game more with my friends, because they had the 2-player mode and stuff. But did you manage to play a 2-player back then with anyone?
Yes. So I have the most memories of me playing Donkey Kong as always, but either by myself or watching my brothers. Mostly playing myself, but I had one friend, my best friend back then, before I moved. There were two games we always played to death. One was Super Mario World, and the other one was Donkey Kong Country. And we always did like the co-op. Even though, man, Donkey Kong back then had like multiple multiplayer options, and we always picked obviously the one where you couldn't hurt each other, because I think there was one where you could like kill each other or something. I don't remember. Was
I don't
one where you
remember that,
like
actually.
one was versus, I think they called it like 2-player contest, or maybe one, oh yeah, I think one you each just went over the levels, and the other one you could switch between the characters, and like
Yeah,
if we
that's
would
right.
switch the monkeys, then the other one played. That's what we used to do always with Donkey Kong 1 and 2. We always did that, and I have a lot of memories playing with my friend, and those were so much fun.
Yeah, that's what I used to do all the time, just the switching over of the co-op with one of my friends, and I probably played my SNES with just one main friend overall, and most of my SNES memories comes from that friend. But I mean, me and him, we played Donkey Kong co-op just so much, and I love thinking back to them, because those were the days, right? Just local co-op, and with this game as well, it was just so incredibly new, just visually and sound wise, which we'll get into later. But it was just an absolute joy to play every single time, and I didn't even mind switching over back and forth back then with that type of co-op. A lot of people look at co-op today and demand constantly 2 characters on a screen at once. But back then you were happy, I suppose, to share screen real estate, weren't you? It was just something you'd done. I never really give too many thoughts to it. It just really didn't bother me.
Yeah.
Cool. All right then. So let's move on to the next part. So yeah, we'll move now onto the graphics and just the overall game world of the game, because I feel like this is one of the major parts of what made Donkey Kong Country so special back then, and even still now, because I think visually just playing it recently, I think it still looks absolutely stunning, and it's like the peak of the the 16-bit era, isn't it? It's just it's just absolutely gorgeous. But yeah,
You know what pisses me off always, kinda?
Yeah.
Because it's like you said, Donkey Kong Country has such a unique graphical style. When people now say, oh, they should remake Donkey Kong Country and then do it like Tropical Freeze, like, no, because it's not Donkey Kong Country anymore then. You can't graphically remake this game. It will never be the same.
No, I mean when people ask for remakes, you got to be careful, and I've always said this, on my channel when I recently talked about Panzer Dragoon, for example, where they're doing a remake on the Nintendo Switch. When you remake a game, there's certain things that make certain games special, and the look of Donkey Kong Country is one of those things that make it special. And if you take that away, then you might as well just have Donkey Kong Country Returns.
Exactly.
Which is, even though it's a Donkey Kong Country game, it never felt like the SNES Donkey Kong Country to me. It's still a great game, but it felt different in a fine way, but it was different to what Donkey Kong Country was, and a major part of that was the graphical style of it, because this game, its art style, which we can get into now. Its art style is it's a lot. You look at Donkey Kong Country Returns, Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze. These look really, really cartoony. Really Saturday morning cartoony. Whereas Donkey Kong Country on a SNES has almost like a gritty realism to it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like obviously, this is how they done a lot of background animation, looking at actual gorillas, and all this stuff, and using the silicon graphics engine that they used back then, for the animation, and as we know, converting those 3D models into 2D. But the art style of this game, it was always very, even though you had like the great jungle hijinks, tracks, and stuff like that made you bounce along. It was also a very moody game, both in sound and art style. But seeing as the art style, I always found it very, very moody, but not depressing moody, atmospheric.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's like a lot of people, they always, when they think of 3D gaming and in the past, they're like, oh, Starwing, Star Fox, whatever. It's like, yeah, that's like real 3D. But to me, Donkey Kong Country always felt like one of the first 3D games I played because of how they made it. You see the game, even though it's a 2D platform, the way, especially for example, like Rambi the Rhino, when he looks at the screen and it's like it's 3D. It looks so good.
And he sticks his tongue out and stuff. Like you said, the whole head moves, and he pants at the screen. You're like, holy crap! This is just. It's absolutely phenomenal, and like you said, we would do stuff like that, we would do stuff like that, just let these things happen, just to marvel at how, incredible and revolutionary, this art style was, because, before then, you had never seen a platform game, or even, arguably a video game like this. You had never seen a game like this, and that's always hard to convey later on, today. Unless you sit someone down with a Super Nintendo and says, graphically, here are the best games for the Super Nintendo, right? And if you just chose one Donkey Kong game, just say Donkey Kong Country, because that's what we're picking off, and then chose every other SNES game, no other SNES game looks like Donkey Kong Country. It's completely unique unto itself, and that's what makes it so unique and so special on the SNES.
It's definitely, like you said, also a lot more gritty, because like I love Tropical. Okay, Tropical Freeze is literally my second favorite Donkey Kong. I think it's such a good game. But it's like you said, one is more cartoony, and when you take the original Donkey Kong Country, what makes it so great is like you have the first level, and like, oh, your shit gets stolen here, I'm gonna get the shit back. So you're running out with this like gorilla with his paws on the floor, and then it's like it starts raining and thunder and shit, and that's like level one. Like the way it sets this mood, exactly, it sets such a specific mood in place.
Yes, it's amazing, but to stick with those, with the 3D models and stuff, another thing that made it so gritty and realistic was the animation, and this is another thing that I never saw in a SNES game before. The level of smooth animation from all of these characters and these environments in the game. It just one of the first things you do in a game, as Donkey Kong, after you burst out of the hut, you somersault down. And like with any Mario game, that you're used to, you instantly hold the Y button in order to sprint, right? You know that button combination straight away. And to see him gallop, on all fours, just the level of animation. My God, back then my brain just went. I was just.
So, like, there were specific animations I really loved. Because when talking about animations, I actually wrote some down that I really liked, because I felt Rare put so much effort into that, like you said, and like idle animations and things. Things that I really liked is, for example, when you ducked. Donkey Kong, Mario, he ducks and he sits there, but Donkey Kong, he raises his arms a little bit and he looks around, and all of that was like so beautifully animated. And like one of my favorites is like when you played a mini game with Diddy and then you lost it, he threw his cap on the floor and he started jumping off it. I love all that stuff.
He's like stamping on his hat and stuff. It's brilliant. Yeah, it's so good. But even still in that bonus place when Donkey Kong and he stretches his arm to the air, the way he's flexing his arms up in the air, like he's like really happy. I just like I used to love that. One animation I used to crack me up was when Donkey Kong used to climb the rope. And it looked like he was having sex with the rope, because if he holds it onto it, and like his hips will be moving up while his arms are going up and down.
I actually wrote the rope down. Yeah, because like when he goes back and shit, like when you go back, his mouth opens up and everything.
It's so many. I think, did they animate it like this on purpose or what? Because he could have like used both of his hands, like one over the other or something. Just like climbing like a normal person. He just like gyrates at the rope, which is absolutely hilarious. But we were talking about how kind of like more grounded and realistic this game is in terms of art style. But it still had a lot of cartoony stuff in there. So like, when you talk about the idle animations and stuff, one like really cartoony is if you like when you like go to the edge of the ledge and like Donkey Kong.
I wrote that down too. Yeah.
Sorry, go on. Okay, no, go on. You talk about it. You talk about it.
It's like you said, like, and you stand on the cliff, and specifically with Donkey Kong, and then like he starts swinging, and like his eyes like bulge out.
Yeah, they pop out.
That's why they did it in the Smash reveal in the intro of the game. He does it, and also there when he's sitting on the cliff, his eyes
yeah, of course. Yeah, and the game had loads of stuff like that. Like even like when you're flying from a barrel, like you'd have like multiple eyes like flying across the screen as if like it's meant to be like motion blurred or something, like early motion blur for characters. But with like a an Acme type of Toontown type of animation to it, which was awesome, because like I said, these characters then just felt even more alive with all these animations, and they were just awesome. They were just so good.
Like for example, in the final boss fight, I love it when King K. Rool, he throws his crown and he laughs at the camera. It's so good.
There's a lot of animations like that. You mentioned the snakes earlier, the way the snakes move in and out and stuff. And it's just like I said, one of the characters that used to crack me up was Clump, and the way Clump walked, it's almost like he was like really big, like overweight, and like his arms would be like sticking out to the side. I do this now with my hands. That's it. And he'd be like walking from side to side, and it's just animation wise, it was just so cool. And that like the way they would swim in the water, that was another. Oh god, the swimming animation. Yeah, I tell you what, I could watch it for hours, and I'll mention this when we talk about the music later on, but just the way they would gracefully move their arms in the water, like when you tap the button faster and they'd swim even faster. It just looks so fluid and beautiful as well as the creatures. One creature I absolutely loved was the octopus. Which just if you can catch the octopus's idle animation, you can catch it more than like one of the later levels, but early on you can actually be quite clever and catch it early, and his tentacles are just moving up and down, and then when you get close it starts spiraling around in a circle, as you know. But animation wise, once again, I've never seen a creature move that fluid before in a video game from that era.
Because you mentioned the water, I wouldn't have thought of it otherwise. Because of how fluid it was, one of my favorite ones that just looks so smooth is the big sharks. When they swim, it's like they're swimming in 3D. It's insane.
Yeah, and you had the small sharks and the big sharks, and both their animations were beautiful. You had like some little jellyfish.
I hate those.
Oh, I hated those. They were purposely designed to just get in your way, and they were almost like they were like bloopers, in that respect, where you felt like they were hunting you, even though these ones went in, just in zigzag directions and carried on going. They were difficult enemies to get around, but they still looked incredible, and we'll quickly touch upon as well the animation of all the friendly, I suppose you can call it pets, or
the animal buddies. I think they officially call them
animal friends. We'll call them, but that was a really good surprise in the game, because the first one you come across is Rambi, on the first level, and Rambi's animation, like you mentioned earlier, when he turns his head, looks at the screen, patting his tongue, and the way he gallops and stuff. We'll
that running shit, that's one of the smoothest shit in the game. The way, because his legs are so much smaller, so you think it's more bloody, but it's not. It's so smooth.
Yeah. I mean, he's a proper tank, and you feel like it when you're on top of him, and it's it's awesome. And
even the animals, like you said, they had idle animations, like Rambi looking at the screen, and like Winky would like do his like blowing thing. And
when it's I mean, what do you call it? Like his pouch or whatever, his mouth pouch would extend out, and it's just like. There's just so much deep, attention put into every single creature, and I just loved it. You had Espresso. I loved the speed he ran. My God, I never liked the control of Winky. That's one little the frog. That's one little thing I could never fully master, because his hops felt so sometimes erratic, and he would make you fail a jump sometimes.
We'll come back to Winky for me later still.
Okay, fine. But Engard was good, the way he darted forwards and everything, and then
especially in the water levels, because I like that Engard was programmed, even if you didn't attack, to attack if an enemy was there, so you always felt a lot safer then.
Yeah, no, that's true. I completely forgot about that. And then you had Squawks, which I'll mention later on as well.
Because the thing about the animation is that why I said the game is like one of the first 3D games I remember playing, is you can tell that they're not just moving pixels around to make it look like it's moving like they would, like if you have Final Fantasy and somebody talks, pixels move, whatever. It's not that. It can't be that simple. The way it's animated, like that's what it looks like.
That's exactly what it was. It was animated to a point, like I said, that you'd never seen before, and then that in itself became something that you just so looked forward to when every time you fired up the game. You just look forward to it, and to jump back to the intro, when you got Cranky Kong, and he's cranking away, on the old vinyl player, with the little speaker coming out of it, doo 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 doo. And then the music kicks in. We'll talk about music later, but the music kicks in, and the way Donkey Kong swings down. His feet go forward towards the screen, and then he swings back. That, like you said, that was 3D, but in 2D, and your brain was just like, what am I seeing right now? This is no longer, it wasn't even like say Turtles in Time, which I can't remember if that came out before or after. I reckon it came out after. I can't remember. But like in Turtles in Time, when you threw the foot soldiers at the screen. And it tried to get that fake 3D effect with the pixel foot soldiers flying towards the screen. Even that was just pixels. This was
that's like I said, that's the Mode 7 idea they use, when they're just making pixels bigger and bigger so that it looks like it's animated.
And I'll big up Mode 7 all day, every day. I absolutely love Mode 7, but when you saw this happening, it was just my God, like I said, you've never seen anything like it. It was just it's just so good. You'd watch that intro all the time, but we'll talk about the music later. But yeah, just a general animation of the world in itself, and when you jump to the level, you start galloping and stuff. You're like, whoa, my God! You spend a few minutes just running back and forth, just looking at Donkey Kong, and then in the background, this is your first, look at Jungle Higgins, and the levels of parallax scrolling. We're still talking about the background and just the animation of the characters here, the animations of the background, but they were so multi-layered, more than I think I'd ever seen before in a game at that time. They were just so multi-layered, just layers of trees here, one moving left, the other moving right, another in the background moving left, another moving right, and it just gave this distance and this whole world just feeling alive. Obviously with the music kicking in as well, but just everything.
What I like about that with what you said, because the background had so many layers, and what I like is that the foreground did too. Like I said, like at one point again in the first level in the jungle hijinks, and then like again all the backgrounds are scrolling, but then it starts raining, but like slowly starts, and it's like they add a layer and layer until it's like, you know, the sun goes down in the background, it slowly gets dark, you know, the background is alive, and then the foreground is more and more rain, and then the whole lighting changes because of the lighting itself. Like the whole world, it never a game felt so alive. I feel a 2D game the way this one did.
Yeah, you know, I couldn't agree more. And even on that first level, when you get to the end, like you said, the sun slowly lowers down. It's just like, how many games had you played where you had that type of actual real-time sunset?
Yeah.
When you were in a level, it was just, and you'd stand there. I wouldn't go for the exit. I'd stand there.
I know.
I'd stand there and go, oh my god, look at this sunset. This is beautiful. This is, you know, the colours and everything. It had multi-layers of colours, and the music would slowly die down. It's just like, my god, that's just the first level. And you just blown away by the production value, the level of animation, and the characters that you first meet at that level. You see the Kremlins, their level of animations, you know, the way their mouths are going up and down, their claws are moving forward and backwards, you know, and what other characters that you see in the first level? You had the little beaver guys. What were they called? They were
Naughties.
Naughties, thank you. And yeah, you know, they were, I mean, the way they, like, the little teeth were moving, like the way they would just like scuttle across the floor, and that's just like it's just like a small basic enemy. And you know, like a lot of people now would probably look at that and think, you know, what's the big deal? But like I said before that, you were looking at characters like you know, Goombas, you know, and stuff like that, which look great in 2D. You know, it's nothing to knock them, but that's where you were coming from. You know.
Yeah, and like the snakes also, they were just like moving.
Yeah, they were just, you know, it's just absolutely real. And then you had other characters like Clump, you know, the way he's like, you know, he had like the military helmet on, and only Donkey Kong could jump on his head, because that's, you know, that's another thing I loved, you know, about the characters. You know, you had to switch up between them or use a different tactic, you know, for certain enemies, which, you know, played a role throughout the whole game. But you know, while
I like it when if you use Diddy to jump on the Arnold Schwarzenegger ones with the tank tops. I forgot the name. And then you jump with him on Diddy, and then they like laugh at you and shit.
What's his name? Crusher, isn't it? Yeah, you like. Yeah, I always thought you look like, you know, the Terminator, you know, like Arnold Schwarzenegger or something. You got like, you know, just really, like he's laughing at you, mocking you, which is you're like, how do I defeat this guy? Because Diddy couldn't even like cartwheel into him. Only Donkey Kong could take him out. Like, you know, it's awesome. But you know, while we're sticking with the world, you know, how did you know, how you know, the overall design of the world, you know, I mean, this is the first time we got to see Donkey Kong in his own universe, and I think, you know, Rare, you know, nailed it for the first time, giving Donkey Kong his own universe. You know, so how did you feel, you know, about Donkey Kong Country as a world, as a whole?
So this question is peculiar for me because while I don't specifically remember when I started playing Donkey Kong Country, I do for a fact know it is the very first Donkey Kong game I ever played. I didn't know Donkey Kong yet before then, because as a kid I never had the original Mario Bros. Or Donkey Kong on the NES. I never had any of those games. So for me, this was like the first world I actually got to know him in. So to me, when afterwards, for example, I got to explain it in reverse. When afterwards I knew that he was in the old games and I played those as a kid, I was like, wait, where's this incredible cool world? Like, what the fuck is this? That's how I got to know him.
Oh, that's actually pretty freaking awesome, actually, to be. Maybe, I mean, I'm sure that happened to many other people who were like first introduced to Donkey Kong through Donkey Kong Country, which is why the game might holds so much nostalgia and memories for so many other people as well, because to have these to them, and maybe even to you, this was like almost like a brand new character, and with a brand new sidekick as well. Diddy Kong would have been a brand new character. Just everything. Diddy Kong was brand new to all of us anyway, but it was even extra, for someone to jump into this and just say, wow, look at this brand new world and these brand new characters, that for you never heard of before, which is crazy. Sometimes you take for granted, thinking, even when people have grew up playing Nintendo, you can take for granted that you feel like everyone knows the staple Nintendo characters like Donkey Kong,
exactly.
Like Mario, and all the other classic Nintendo characters from back then. Even Zelda, is and I say Zelda, Link. So it's old school era, isn't it? But even like Link, Link and stuff, you for some reason you automatically assume people know these staple characters, but back then, like we mentioned, you didn't have every game under the sun. You didn't have every. Even if you had a console, you might not have never heard of some games. So, jumping into it for the first time, that must have been, incredible. But even for me, I did know and I did play, Donkey Kong, in the arcades, and on the NES back then. But for me, coming into this new Donkey Kong and seeing this world, I thought it was just I thought it was amazing to have this world map with this giant island, to have the map to go around, each level, to be able to go back to those levels, and just the overall feel of the world itself. Like I said, it felt like a proper island with different canopies and different areas that could essentially exist on a single island, and I absolutely loved it. And as we know, Rare populated the island with so many different types of areas, that it just felt amazing. It just felt real. And as a kid, when you get absorbed in these games worlds, that's what you want, isn't it? We strive for it now, because we're older. I feel like sometimes it's harder to get sucked into a game world. It takes something really special, like a Breath of the Wild, to really suck you into a game world to get that magic. But back then, you were loving everything, but you would have that one game, that would turn up, and you're just like, wow, this game world is just, I want to be in it. This is absolutely amazing. So
like a confession time, because for this thing we're doing now, I obviously replayed the whole game again, because I really wanted to have it fresh in my mind, and I was playing it. And I think last night I was at the final boss again, and I died, and I was put on the main menu. So you have the overworld, and then you have sub-overworld. That was on the overworld, where you see the boat and everything, and you see the Kong Island. And I was looking at this, and it's 30 years since I've been playing this game and shit. I'm looking at this and wait, the rock, it looks like Donkey Kong's face. Never saw that before.
DK Island, man. No, that's cool though. I mean, to have that little revelation right now, I think that's awesome. I'd be laughing at myself. I'd be like, oh my god, this is amazing. Like, I not noticed that before. No, that's cool though. But yeah, it's that's what I mean. You got this world, and then suddenly now you had the Mushroom Kingdom, you had Donkey Kong Country, you had Hyrule. Nintendo were getting these game worlds that were just amazing. And like I said, Rare just knocked it out of the park, creating, the first game world for Donkey Kong. Obviously influenced, by platforms that came before, like Mario and stuff. But I always give people credit if they can just make something unique. And Rare, they just knocked it out of the park for that. But other things in the world, that we loved, like I mentioned, the world map. You had the shops in there, which were cool. I love the shops, like Cranky Kong's little little shack, and I used to listen all the time to Cranky Kong. Did you ever take his advice?
Like Cranky Kong, man, that's literally one of my favorite things about the game. I love it when he's like, because that's the thing. It's not trying to be funny. It is funny. He's sitting there like, yeah, back in my game, we didn't have all these colors and animations. Like these bananas have more animations than my games, and,
Yeah.
and like, I would have beaten this game with one life and everything. It's just so good as listening.
Yeah, because he was meant to be the Donkey Kong from the original Donkey Kong arcade, right? And and you got
he has like reference to that. Like
Yeah.
I used to be in a game, and we would like we had like one joystick and one button to finish. We didn't have all this fancy stuff back. Like that's what I would finish this game. Like it's so good.
Yeah, but he would also give you tips and stuff for each level. Go back for this level, stick to the treetops and stuff like that. To find all these extra lives and all these secrets, or look behind here. To find this secret here. And why were those secrets? That was and this is part of the game world as well. The levels, I suppose. This was one of the major things about Donkey Kong Country as well. Just the amount of secrets, and the secrets were clever in this game. Some of them were simple, but others were clever, and some of them forced you to take risks, sometimes risks that you didn't want to take. And I found out as well, going back for this playthrough again, I was like, I'm sure there's a secret down there, I don't want to die, testing it out. but that's what you did.
The secret areas had secret areas.
Yeah, right. But they mixed those up. All the secret areas, all the bonus levels, and all that stuff, which were all awesome as well. Like they would mix them all up, to just bounce it on tires, having to get 3 of the same, gold animal, insignia and stuff, so you can unlock the bonus levels, or what have you.
Yeah, like balloons that disappeared. Yeah, like the ladders that like rolled in a circle. That's just one thing I actually noted when I was playing it. Like all the way through the game, right until the end. Even then, you barely ever got the same bonus level. Maybe once or twice in the whole game.
Yeah, and they really did mix them up. The balloon one, even still to this day, I am just shit on the balloon one. I sometimes you feel like you've got it. You're like, it's that one, and it'd still be a different fucking barrel, and I'd be like, God.
So you're talking about the one where one balloon goes and then it disappears?
And it flies, and it
I
disappears.
I never missed that one.
I swear, back in the day, I was alright. Yeah, but I'd probably miss it more than anything else. But sometimes I think it's obvious, but then sometimes my eyes would just die, and I'd be like, how did I miss that? And playing back through it now, I missed so many. I recorded it all. How many I missed?
The one that I miss more often, I've noticed these days, is when you have like 4 barrels in a row and they keep flickering and you have to like match them up. I feel that I've become less patient to wait for it, and then I jump too early.
Yeah, I do that as well. But I suppose that's good about the bonus levels. They would still always challenge you. And Donkey Kong games have been always good with their bonus levels like that. With challenging you, to keep you on the toes. So it's never too easy. I loved, like I said, the amount of secrets in this game. There's some really clever stuff. Where you'd have to even sometimes roll off a plank. So you would roll where your character would actually fall off the screen, but you stay in the air a little bit. It's like that technique. You'd roll off the edge. This was some of the controls in the game that I loved. You'd roll off the edge, but continue going, and then you give yourself like half a second for you to jump in midair in order to reach a barrel that's further along that otherwise looked impossible to get. And those are some of the secrets that would really test you. But I mean, in the levels, they were absolutely everywhere. Invisible walls.
That's what I was gonna say. Before Donkey Kong Country, the only games that ever used to do that were games like maybe Zelda did it a couple of times, but it's not really the same because Zelda cheated at that, I feel. Or like Final Fantasy. But like who in a platformer thinks, there's a wall here, you can go through there. It's like, who thinks of that?
Yeah, I can't think of much. You had stuff
Jumping
like
over the walls, like the level is over, but no, you can jump over it if you do like this super roll, like you said, off the leaf, and you can get super high off camera, and then off camera you have to gauge where the wall is, and you can jump over it. Like some of the secrets are
yeah.
absurd.
Well, that's what you said. Like the bonus levels had secret areas as well.
Yeah.
You know, and my God, some of those were difficult to get to. But yeah, just, and when we're sticking to the controls, as if we just quickly touch upon the controls, of the game. I know a lot of people actually didn't like the controls in this game, but playing back through it, no, I had no issues, virtually, whatsoever. I find it still just a really tight platformer where your boundaries. You know the collision detections, you know what you could roll off, you know what's possible, and you know when you mess up. And you can comfortably play the game and jump when you need to, gallop long, do a decent long jump when you need to, and you got all the barrels, the spinning barrels, as we know in Donkey Kong games, from this game, were just, they were brutal as well, but the timing was still immaculate. So
In your hands.
yeah, it's still in your hands, still immaculate. So if you messed up, it was all you. And I still found it right now just a pleasure to play. Going back to it after all these years, it's still.
I had the exact same feeling where I thought, and I mean this, I was playing it and I thought to myself, this game is so much more responsive than some games today. Like, you want to turn around, you instantly turn around. When you did the jump that you mentioned earlier, you roll somewhere and then you jump, and everything worked flawlessly.
Yeah.
The only issue that I had, but that's a me thing, is I main Donkey Kong in Smash, and he has his down B attack, which comes from this game, except in this game, I tried using it, it doesn't react as fast. So then I wanted to do it, and then I died because he goes like this super fluid animation. His arms like wiggle up before they hit down again. That always kills me.
Well, that slap is amazing in this game as well, because when I played through it again, I remembered so many hidden bunches of bananas in the ground when you do the slap on the ground with Donkey Kong. And bananas would pop out in certain parts of the floor and stuff. I just remembered so much, and that all that stuff is is built into it. But I never used it as I think I remember back when I first played it, I would play around using it as a weapon, but most of all I just jump on the enemies or roll into them, because the slap is a risky thing to do against enemies. So it's always just for finding additional bananas to get extra lives, or hidden Kong letters, so you could spell out your name and get an extra life as well. All this game was all about extra lives, and sometimes you needed them, because some of those levels, man. Oh, my God, we'll talk about some of those levels, a bit later on. But my God, you needed those extra lives, because it wasn't a hard game, but it wasn't easy. It was. I think its difficulty was just above medium, with some levels that would kick your ass.
It's because I always considered Donkey Kong one of the harder platformers from Nintendo, and I'm glad that to this day they kept it like that.
Yeah.
But I went back to it and I was like, it's pretty easy. After the first level, I got 10 lives, then I got 20 lives, or something, 35 lives. I'm like, why is this so hard? And then you fall on a random level, and like your 35 lives are gone in a second.
And you keep making the same mistake every time. You're like, what am I doing? I just remember just raging. But yeah, I mean, as a kid, I remembered it being hard. I do remember it being hard, as a kid, and some of those levels would, without a doubt, kick my ass. And I was playing through, one level that I remember always kicked my ass. Just quickly, just talk about one or two levels that were hard. Was one level was what was it? The orangutan gang. Came out of the level, and that's when you first. I think it's when you first see these orangutan creatures, who they look evil as crap.
They look like the Jumanji monkeys.
Yeah, like the Jumanji monkeys. Or they reminded me also. They reminded me now also of the gorillas from Congo. You remember the film Congo?
Yeah. Oh man, that's a good movie.
There were the vicious gorillas in there, man.
Yeah.
But that's what they look like. They're just evil as shit. This evil orangutan gang just owning these treetops, and the speed they throw the barrels down the levels. I was like, my God, even now. As a kid, that level was just brutal. Just
and they throw them like downhill, so you have the pixel perfect jump over that.
You can't use Donkey Kong then either. You need Diddy Kong, and if you lose Diddy Kong, you're like.
I hated those orangutans always. When I played the game as a kid, I remember the first time we saw a different monkey. I'm like, hey, a monkey, orangutans and shit. And you look, actually, that's a memory I have of looking in the menu, I think, because they're called Kong. They're called Kong. So I'm like, why are they fighting against me? You guys are traitors. Why are they attacking me?
They're called Monkey Kongs.
Yeah.
and mank in the UK as well. When people use it when you like describe something, that's nasty. That's filthy.
I don't know. I didn't know that.
So that's probably why they call Monkey Kong. That's probably why they called it. Cause, as we know, Rare is a British company, so there's a lot of that. Rare has a lot of like Monty Python type of humor to them, especially in their early games.
That's true. That's true.
So that's something. That's one of the things I love.
One of the, because you mentioned like that level, I had one level also, which is one of the, I think 2 or 3 levels where they were not just hard, they were like bullshit hard, where I literally had to like go farm for lives because I was wooden naked. And one of the worst ones for me is, I think it's the first snow level. It's called Snow Barrel Blast, I think.
Oh, no, I was going to mention that myself. It's so hard. Go on.
Because in the first levels, you have like the rain, and at this time it starts snowing, and it starts snowing like so much you can barely see anything. Yeah. And then near the end, you get like barrels that are spinning so fast. And the problem is that I felt sometimes the barrels responded unfairly in that level because of how fast you went, and you can't see it, and like then you get agitated, so you hit the pace button even faster.
Yeah,
exactly.
You're rushing. You're
I lost the most lives in that one.
Yeah, without a doubt. And some of those barrels, they would move up and down while spinning, and you're like, what is this shit, man? You know what's going on? This is unnecessary. There's a blizzard. I'm in a barrel that's going up and down and spinning fast as crap. And I'm a kid. How do you expect me to do this? Even playing now, it still kicked my ass. I was like, oh my God.
And then it's still Donkey Kong. So of course, you have to go straight, but there's a specific barrel. It has to be in a specific angle. Yeah. It will fly you over the barrels, in between barrels, in a secret barrel. It's like, come on.
Yeah, I mean, some of those levels, they were just, they were great, but also, brutal. And you mentioned the snow and stuff. As we touched upon earlier, the changes in the weather and around the levels and stuff. That was really welcoming. To have these type of levels that felt really atmospheric and and beautiful, and with the music to go with them. And I feel let's just get into the music now, because it's the music of Donkey Kong Country that to this day I will still listen to casually while I'm doing the dishes. But I think this would be a good time to move on to like I said, what we want to talk about, our one of the most incredible things about Donkey Kong Country, and one of the things that I absolutely love about it, and I'm sure you do as well, which is the music as well as the sound, and especially with the music, something a soundtrack that I could go back to any time of day. It's one of my favorite video game soundtracks ever. But let's talk about the music of Donkey Kong Country and its sound. Yeah, so one of the things that Donkey Kong Country is just absolutely awesome for, and once again, sound effects that you just didn't hear on the Super Nintendo, and one of my favorites. I'm just gonna get straight into it. One of my favorite sound effects in the game, and seems to just come off idle animation as well, is when you leave Donkey Kong there, and his idle animation is to beat his chest. And just the sound of it, I've done it so many times replaying it, getting ready for this video. Just the sound of it just echoing around the level, it's just it's it's just so good, and it's just such a unique sound, for that game. You don't get anything from Diddy. It's just from Donkey Kong, and it's just power.
I swear that's the word I had in my head.
It's just absolute power, and
it's like you have like the bass of when he hits his chest, and the way his like voice echoes through the jungle. It's like he's fucking coming for you.
Yeah, and did this game have like Dolby sound as well? I'm sure it did.
I don't remember.
I'm sure it did. I might be wrong on that, but I'm sure the sound quality of this game as well. There's something new about it as well. Like I can't remember. Can't remember. That's something that I'll have to check later on. But just the sound anyway. This game was just, like I said, it was just phenomenal. And there were other great sound effects. Can you think of one that you really love in the game as well? I
can think of like 20.
Got it.
Like because I made like a sound effects video a while back.
Yeah, and I watched that, and I said I was going to copy it as well because it's awesome.
Somebody in the comments mentioned, "Oh, you like Donkey Kong has good sound effects," and I read that comment and I felt my heart break for not having thought of Donkey Kong. It's like a lot of the sounds that you made, like the chest pounding. There's a few sounds that sound similar to it, like when you pound on the floor, or when Rambi is running. There's like
the weird, Rambi sound is so good.
Yeah, the imploding like kind of bass effect and shit. But some of my favorites are the bananas, for example, like getting a banana.
That's a good sound effect.
The specific it does in me when I hear that banana sound. I liked when you collected when you had 3 of those the golden animal tokens, and when you collected 3 of them, the way it counted them had a specific effect to it. And there's some enemy sounds I really love, like when you kill a bee, it's like that's this weird like bee sound. Yeah, exactly.
One sound I love as well when you kill another enemy is we were talking about Crusher earlier. I done the sound anyway, but I think when you jump on his head with Donkey Kong, he's like, oh!
Yeah, that's one exactly that I wrote down.
The way he falls off the level as well. It's like he sounds like an absolute agony.
And when you kill on the snake, that like hissing sound almost like the hissing sound.
They could be hard creatures as well sometimes, especially when you have to crawl underneath a level or something and they turn up. And another sound I loved as well, which I'll mention as later on again, is the sound of the minecart when you're jumping.
Yeah, I had that written down as well. Yeah, it's such a good sound.
It's like ting, ting. It's just and the rolling of it. Oh, it's just. It's just.
The reason I like that minecart sound effect is because the level, when the first minecart level was, I was like, man, this is not as hard as I remember it. But then you get a few more and it starts getting brutal.
Yeah.
So when you land, that sound effect is like the sound of victory, like you're still alive.
It's just one of those. It is. It's a glorious sound, and we mentioned like the bonus levels earlier, and we won't mention the music part of it, but the sound effect part coming from like Donkey Kong when you win a bonus level, it's like his monkey sound, it's like. And that was like a sound effect that it made me laugh, because that's something I actually used to do. As sad as it is in real life, if I ever used to like beat someone on something, I'd put my arms in the air and make that sound. whatever.
So, because like I said, I made that sound effects video, and I remember one of your favorite videos of mine is weird things we do in video games. And one of the things I used to love to do is just non-stop make the characters switch, because I love the sound effect of them clapping their hands and then the
high
monkey
fives.
game with it. And sometimes like 5 times in a row, we just like switch them around because I want to.
I used to do it all the time as well. It's so good.
I love that.
Yeah, this is
And because
yeah, go on.
I was just gonna say, and because I mentioned that video of yours now, because there's nowhere else I'm gonna fit this in. Another thing I used to love doing in this game, which is just completely random and useless, is if like one of your characters died, they always would run away. I always like try to run after them to see if I could keep up with them, and I would always die.
Yeah. Or like sometimes you'd actually see them run off and there'd be a DK barrel right in front of you. And they're already inside there, even though they're still running off, like, which always cracked me up, like, you're thinking,
which is a great sound effect as well. The
knocking on the barrel,
yes,
isn't it?
the knocking sound.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. I mean, there's other sound effects, that I absolutely love, and I'm glad you mentioned the bananas, because the banana sound is a good collecting sound. It is really satisfying, and I love the sound of even the environmental stuff, the sound of the rain and the thunder. It was like I said, it just ambience wise and everything, all these sound effects were just adding to this live world, or even though this is part of the music, just the sound of the jungle when before the DK Island Swing song, just from jungle, hitching starts up, just the beginning of it, we hear the creatures in the jungle,
the little crickets and things you hear,
and all that stuff in the background. I kind of, even as part of the track, I still kind of consider that as sound effects, because it just adds to to the atmosphere, and I just love how they wove that into the music anyway. But yeah, going back to the animals, I love the sound, like I said, of Rambi. I do like the jumping sounds of the animals.
Woo woo.
Yeah. What does it go like?
It's like woo woo.
But even when they're in the water and you're mashing a button and you get like this little bubble sound. It's like we're all trying to do sound effects, faded miserably, like but you got all these things, and one sound that used to horrify me, absolutely horrify me as a kid, was the sound of the running of the rock croc in the stop and go station.
God.
Oh god, as a kid, he just used to terrify. I remember pausing the game, thinking I can't handle it. This level is terrifying, because you got these creatures anyway who had these quick animations, and the only way to stop them, as was to click the stop and go barrel, and to make them stop, and they turn down into a rock for a few moments, and then they get up, they go, and then start running, and the run is like, it's like thump as well, isn't it? And it oh god, it was horrible. I used to absolutely hate it. Absolutely hate it.
I think like one more sound effect that I had written down that I really liked. You already mentioned it. I think it's one of the first things we mentioned in this video, is just because it happens as well when you come out of the house in the first level, but when you shoot out of a barrel, there's an explosion sounds in Donkey Kong Country. They're like so satisfying.
Yeah, and also the slotting of the barrels, like, and like when you when you slot into the barrel, it's like it's like a reloading sound. It's like, and then you like blast out, and it's just every single time it just never gets boring, and it as you know it adds to that level as well when you're just blasting out the cannon after cannon after cannon, you know, and it's just so, you know, satisfying. Yeah, you know, like I said, the sound effects of these games, even, you know, like we were talking about leaning over the edge, and he's like, and his eyes are bulging out, and he's like, you know, he's making this scared cry and stuff, you know, and it's just, you know, an absolute delight. And like I said, even going back to it now, I was still making the noises, you know, as I was playing it, and you know, I think there's not many games. I mean, we had a lot of great sound effects on the SNES, you know, and I'm not knocking any SNES games, you know, but you know, like I said, when you play Donkey Kong, there's just so much quality in the actual sound design itself.
Definitely.
You know, it was just in terms of sound coming out of your speakers and stuff. It was you know, it was an incredible thing. But yeah, you know, so let's get into you know, I think something that we've been itching to talk about. I know I've been you know, itching to talk about, and that's just the.
I'm curious to know like your numbers.
Oh yeah, well we'll get to those after this bit, you know. But you know, let's just talk about. I just want to talk about just in general, just the music of the game overall, how it feels, you know, in the levels, how Donkey Kong Country itself comes alive because of what was, you know, created, you know, by David Wise and, you know, these guys, and you know, it's a absolutely phenomenal composition, and once again something that you just sound wise. You just never, you know, heard on the SNES, you know, with all the drum sounds and, you know, all the stuff, you know, that kicks in, and the echoes, which I want to get into in a second and stuff. But
sometimes like this very jazzy vibe, which you also never had before.
No, it's, you know, but we know that they use, you know, a lot of instruments, you know, and I think that was another thing. It sounded orchestrated, you know, and even though I absolutely love, you know, Final Fantasy VI, you know, and you know, and Chrono Trigger, and you know, and all these great, you know, RPGs, which, you know, soundtrack wise are just phenomenal. You know, once again, I'm not knocking them, and they did in many ways, you know, sound orchestrated, or, you know, maybe borderline on orchestrated. There was something about Donkey Kong Country that just really felt orchestrated, like someone really was playing a drum or playing a xylophone, like you could hear those instruments actually being played. And
I think it's specifically because of the drums that it felt so orchestrated, that the rest just felt like it belonged with it. The drums had such a specific sound to them.
Yeah.
Where it's like you said, where Final Fantasy has an incredible soundtrack, but the drums in Donkey Kong is like, this feels like somebody's actually hitting some bongos somewhere.
Yeah, and I was lucky enough as well to you know, have a subwoofer, you know, when I still had my SNES under the TV back then as well, and just the bass, you know, coming out of the subwoofer. It's just, you know, it's incredible. But how do you know, let me ask you a question. How do you feel overall that the music of Donkey Kong Country encapsulates the world? Do you feel like it does its job and makes each level feel like you're there and represents that level?
So when we take into account everything we talked about, you know, animations and the graphics and the gameplay, I feel when you add the music to it, the music becomes this glue. I mean this when I say this. Donkey Kong Country is the most atmospheric game ever played, and that's the main reason I love it so much. And that is because of the music that holds everything else together. The music is just so perfect, and it's like that they use so many different instruments. That's when you take, for example, the jungle, they use like a lot of bongos and drums and everything, but then you go, for example, to a water level and it becomes like really slow, and they take out the drums. It's like every level has a specific instrument dedicated to it. Like when you go into the mines, for example, you have more xylophones. There's a lot of wooden instruments in the game, like pan flutes and xylophones, and that's just you never had that before, and it is so atmospheric. It makes it feel so real.
Yeah, I think you are nailing it with what you said. Really, I mean, like you said, the atmosphere of Donkey Kong Country. When I first really felt it was actually just after you do jungle hijinks and you go to the first cave level, and you go into the cave and yeah. But what was, sometimes when you were a kid back then, and you sat down and you would listen. That's how you listen to the soundtrack, right? You would when you had your games, you didn't have the CD. Even though, I mean, when I had the game, I didn't have that CD that some people had. I didn't have that. Did you have that? Or?
The soundtrack, you mean?
Yeah.
No, I didn't have the actual soundtrack of the game.
No, I didn't have that that disc back then. So when you listen to game music back then, you would sit there, leave the game on in a safe spot, and listen to your favorite soundtrack. And that's something I've done so much with Donkey Kong Country. And the first time I really done it in that game was literally the second level in the cave, and you got that music, dun, 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 and then if you leave it for long enough, the music suddenly changes up to this new composition that just blew my mind. Absolutely blew my mind. I'll play a sample, of course, but it was like
the echoes is what I feel made the atmosphere and a lot of things. Like I said, because in the cave level, when you enter it, like, this is like the water drop that falls, and it's like there's this echo, so you're in a cave, and the music again is adapted to that. Like it sounds like, if you would listen to the track like this, it sounds like it's an incredible song. But when you listen to it in the context of the game, there's a cave and it sounds hollow, like you're in a cave. Like it's incredible how it does that.
Yeah, exactly that. And jump into the underwater levels, because there's quite a few in the game. Everyone, I think, remembers the aquatic ambience, which is that the name of the level? I can't remember this thing. What's it?
Aquatic Ambience is the name of the song,
Yeah, the first level is called Coral Capers, isn't it, or something like that? And like you said, the way they encapsulate underwater music, and I still say to this very day, Aquatic Ambience is still the best underwater song. Oh, actually, it's so difficult. I always bounce between Dire Docks in Mario 64 and Aquatic Ambience, and they are both. I gotta mention them both because they are both at that level of where they capture a world and an environment just so perfectly. You feel like if you were to give water or the ocean a sound underneath it, this is what it would sound like.
Yeah.
And in video games, there has been nothing else that has touched it. Literally, for me, nothing else. I love underwater levels in games, but there's been nothing else.
I was gonna say that because a lot of people say, underwater level sucks, underwater level this, but when I think underwater levels, exactly, I think Dire Docks, I think Aquatic Ambience, I think underwater levels are technically some of the most atmospheric levels you can have.
Yeah, and it's so hard to nail the soundtrack. I mean, I played loads of games like Echo the Dolphin. Echo the Dolphin got phenomenal underwater music. That's another game that's up there. There's even one track on Jet Force Gemini, but I mean these are rare guys again. There's been very few. Oh, we mentioned Metroid Prime as well, like with the drowned frigate and all that stuff. There's so very few tracks that really capture and Aquatic Ambience. I don't want to talk about that specific track completely, but like I said, it's just the way Rare captured underwater was incredible. And then you go for example up into the treetops, and you wonder what a treetop song, what a treetop ambience would sound like, and then they just give you this upbeat swinging around type of
Yeah.
and it just makes you want to jump and just run across the treetops. It's just
Yeah.
they managed to get the music, I feel, right for every single level in that game. And some levels repeat myself, which is a bit of a negative I'll have later on, but they just managed to capture what you feel these areas would sound like, as well as adding Donkey Kong style to it. Like you said, that jungle beat, the drums and everything. They managed to keep it Donkey Kong as well as encapsulate the world perfectly. And that it's like I said,
it's speechless.
Yeah, it's like I said, I listen to the soundtrack all the time. I don't want Nintendo to take down these soundtracks because we can't get them. I listen to it on YouTube all the time.
Me too.
In the kitchen, just doing the dishes. If I'm reading a book, when I read books, there's certain soundtracks that I like to listen to, and Donkey Kong is one of them. Even though it does distract me a tiny bit on some tracks, it's one of those soundtracks I can listen to. But even my kids now, they know some of the tracks, from this game because I play this so much around them. But the music, like you said, is so integral to this game, and that's when you've got a great game when it can marriage both the level design, the game world itself, to the music, and it fused together so perfectly that if you separated either one, there's going to be something wrong. It's not going to be quite the same. They would still play the same, of course they would. They would still sound the game the same, of course they would. But when you get them together, something magical,
like a perfect harmony,
something magical happens, and you're just like, oh man, this is just beyond glorious, absolutely glorious. And I do feel that Donkey Kong Country just nails that part of his world and his design, So do you have any other thoughts about just the general overall intro? I mean, we were talking earlier, even stuff like the Rare logo when you first boot up the game. Yeah, exactly that, and that becomes a ritual. It was like that back in the day with those old, the Konami soundtracks, and all these old, these logos coming in, and for some reason that Rare logo also then became part of the Cranky Kong, song intro, which we, briefly talked about earlier with Donkey Kong swinging back and forth, with the 3D models and stuff. It looked incredible, but it's very rare, that I would skip that intro because I found this so funny every single time. I'm sure I would skip it, every now and then, but it was just part of just booting up that game.
Yeah.
It's just part of just turning the game on. A bit like where I would barely skip the intro to Metro Prime because just that sound design, to the first Prime.
That's one of the greatest
screen,
intros ever. The title screen.
Just that oh god, it's just so good. But that Rare logo is like that. The Cranky Kong intro, which is just absolutely hilarious. DK doing this little dance, and you hear the explosion. That was another good sound effect, and the explosion of the barrels and stuff.
Yeah, it's also part of the sounds where, for example, when you die in a Mario game, it's like the game mocks you kinda.
Yeah.
Whereas in Donkey Kong Country, if you get a game over screen, it's like with that music, it's like your heart breaks.
Yeah, so good. And that image as well, that 3D image, I used to have that as my desktop wallpaper so much when they look beat up, because the 3D render is just awesome. it's so good. But I mean, there's other great when we talk about marriage, when I talk about up in the treetops, you got the minecart as well. The area there, and once again they managed to get a tempo for the level that starts off like slow and treacherous and until it gets to holy shit, this is going fast, I'm about to die. It's like and the music just carries you through that level with the mine track sound as well. Bing, bing, bing. And you're like, you're just like, it's just. It's just immense, but yeah, I just, there's so many great soundtracks, that we've had in video games, and just, sound designs and stuff, and, if anyone says to me that Donkey Kong Country, isn't one of those great games, and, I like to, unlist them, unfollow them, because, it's just phenomenal. But yeah, do you have any more thoughts just on the general, atmosphere and just vibe of the world through the music and the sound?
No, I honestly think that we covered it pretty well. Like I said, when the music is it creates an ambience, like you said, that if you take one thing out, it's not the same anymore.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so coming towards the end now. So I thought what we'd do, just have a bit of fun, and what we would do is choose some of our favorite, some of our favorite characters, our favorite levels, and our favorite music for the game. Since we've, kind of briefly touched upon them all, but we could just gush, about our favorite things in the game now. So I thought what I'd start off with. What do you want to do? Do you want to do top 5 or top 3? What do you want to do?
I can't do top 3 anymore. You said top 5, and
there's
no way
5.
I can't talk about the 5 things.
No, that's cool. We're going to do top 5. So, seeing as you're my guest on my channel, once again, thank you for coming, Retro. Let's start off with our top 5 characters. Just quickly name them and give a brief, description on why you just overall love those characters. So, you go first.
Yeah. So we go one by one, or I give all 5?
Give all 5.
Okay. On top 5, I know he's going to be on your list too because you mentioned him earlier. I have Squawks, the parrot. The reason I only have him on 5 because I love this design, but I feel there's one level in the game only where you use him. I think in Donkey Kong Country 2 you get him more.
Yeah.
But there's only one level, and I felt you could have used him more.
Yeah, I agree.
What?
Yeah, he's on Torchlight Trouble.
Yeah. And on 4th place, this is a weird one. That's why I knew the name in the beginning when you asked. I have Naughty, the beaver. I don't know why. As a kid, I just like cute things and everything. I still today, and I just think he looks so cute. I just love his design with like the big eyes and the little hands and shit, with like wiggling around. Like he just had to be on my list as well. On 3rd place, we talked about this too already. I have Cranky Kong because of all the stuff we talked about, where he's still this old guy and he yells at you and beats you with a stick, and it sounds like really dumb things, like, oh, in my game we only had like 3 lives and 3 continues. That's all you got. Because it's actually funny without trying to be funny. That's why I like him so much. On 2nd place, and that's why I said we were going to come back to this, I have Winky the Frog.
Oh, nice.
And I love Winky. I think his controls are perfect once you get the hang of him. I liked Winky more than all the other ones because he made me feel most free. I felt Espresso, for example, was really vulnerable. Rambi was very limited, and I feel Winky, you could jump around, you could jump on the bees and everything.
Probably more versatile on the level.
Yeah, he could jump really high, and I don't know, there was something about his shape and the color design. I just love it, and it breaks my heart that this is the only game he was ever in. Like afterwards, they just removed him, and it made me so sad because I love Winky, but like the little jumping sounds and everything. And on number 1, I don't even need to talk about this why. I made him in Smash. I have him everywhere. I just love this guy so fucking much. This is the reason I don't really like the second and third Donkey Kong countries. It's Donkey Kong, of course.
Good choice, man. Good choice. Yeah, I love DK. So yeah, no, they were actually quite a few surprises there. Actually,
That's why I like these lists, man. You never know.
Yeah, we are. Guess what? We only got two similar. There you go. Two similar.
I think I know which ones.
Yeah. Well, first of all, for number 5, we talked about him earlier. I love Crusher, the big Arnie looking Kremlin. I just love the way he walks. I love how hardcore he is as an enemy. You know, you need to be versatile with him, and he can be in horrible positions. If you're only Diddy and he's on the edge of a platform or something, you bounce on him, you fly back into the bottomless abyss, and you're like, fuck. You know, so I both love and hate him, but I just think as a character design, that's just rare for me. You know,
he's one of the only enemies also later on where they make like a new version. Even Donkey Kong can't kill him anymore without
you need explosive barrels or something like that, like, you know, to take him out.
Level pissed me off because they put him on these super small platforms and you have to jump towards him while throwing your barrel. It's like, come on.
Yeah, no, he is like really hard, but yeah, I just, you know me, I love Arnold Schwarzenegger, so to have a character represented is pretty cool. For number 4, I've got a different creature. It is Rambi. I do love Rambi. Maybe it's because he was the first creature you ever come across, and I have the most memories of just charging through walls, charging through Kremlins, and just being this unstoppable tank compared to the other creatures who are a bit more, I feel, vulnerable, whereas Rambi was hardcore. And then when you got knocked off him, I don't know why I found him the easiest to catch. I don't know why, I just found him the easiest to catch. But
I think because he runs slowest, because Winky, for example, you can't catch him anymore because he's so jittery and shit, and Espresso is just too fast. But I was thinking between Squawk and Rambi, so I definitely understand that choice.
Yeah, but it's just, like I said, we talked about his sound and everything, and the way he pants, he's just a cool character. Third character is Diddy Kong. I love Diddy Kong. Yeah, I do love Diddy Kong. He's I loved all the original renders of him. His cap. I love the fact that you had this little sidekick, and he wasn't a Tails, from Sonic doing absolutely nothing. You could use this guy. He had his own moveset, his cartwheels, which I preferred over the roll to Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
I preferred the cartwheels. They were faster. They looked cooler. And
because what they did so good in the game, I feel, is that Donkey Kong, like I said, is really a power character, and you notice it. There's things he can destroy that Diddy can't.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of jumps in the game that Donkey Kong just can't make, and you need Diddy for that. And the
Diddy for him. And I'd probably play as Diddy more than Donkey Kong, which is quite funny, because then for my second place is Donkey Kong himself. But I just think overall, I mean, DK as a character, the way they designed him in this game, we know that Miyamoto suggested the tie and stuff, and him beating his chest, him being the strongest, he being the main character, and just everything. His slaps, him getting the extra items, his animations. I always preferred his animations, even though I like Diddy Kong jumping on his hat. Which is fun. I prefer Donkey Kong's victory, celebration, even when you beat bosses and stuff like that.
I like the anime. We didn't talk about that either. Yeah, but when you lose a game, like the way Donkey Kong just shakes his head and you feel like his heart just broke.
He completely gets his just head down. He's like, he's just like really sad. But I mean, DK. I mean, he's an icon now, and he's definitely one of my favorite Nintendo characters ever as well.
Yeah,
definitely in my top 5. I'd have to do a top 5 or top whatever Nintendo characters. I think it'd be a hard decision, but
he's my second favorite Nintendo character ever.
Yeah. But for my number 1, it's actually Cranky Kong.
You knew that?
Yeah, did you? I don't think in any game have I ever sat with an NPC more than Cranky Kong.
Exactly.
As a kid, every time you got to a new hut, I would go in there. And even when he started repeating some stuff after a while, I'd still go in there because, like you said, he was just hilarious. I like the creaking of his chair. I like when he would tell you off, he go tap you on the head like Donkey Kong would duck down with that ducking animation and stuff. And I think, just from the intro and everything, just to throw Cranky Kong in there as this little character, this old school character, was just hilarious and just pure rare. And like you said,
When you finish the game and Cranky goes in, is it my turn yet?
yeah, exactly. At the end and stuff, and he was just full on the comic relief for the whole game. I feel, and I always just as a kid, it just cracked me up. So yeah, interesting.
It's like when he says things like, "I can't believe these game designers, they put half the budget in this screen alone."
Yeah. And you believed it as well. Everybody spent tons of time, on an assist trying to render this level and everything like that. But that's what I mean. It was another little. It was like a fourth wall, wasn't it? Break.
Yeah.
With Cranky Kong, and that's something else you kind of never really came across back then either. Breaking the fourth wall with video games. You'd have it in a few games. That I remembered on SNES, but with Cranky Kong, he was full on breaking the fourth wall and just hilarious and, just a great character. And obviously, it was great to have him playable in Tropical Freeze. It's a interesting choices there. It's nice to see that we differed, a little bit. So
yeah.
All right, so let's move on to our 5 favorite stages. And shall I go first this time, seeing as you have?
Yeah, you can go first this time.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. So number 5. Recently, actually just mentioned it, is Torchlight Trouble with Squawks.
I knew you were going to put this on your list with how fast you knew the name of that level earlier.
Torchlight Trouble is more one of those stages where you just graphically just blown away. Absolutely just blown away with moving back and forth, the lighting effects, and everything. And it still impressed me now when I replayed it again. I was like, oh my god, look at this level. It's kind of pitch black in the background. You need him. You can hear the creatures. It's a fun designed level. It's one that you've kind of revisited before with the planks and stuff. But it's still a really fun designed level. And just having Squawks there for the first time was just awesome. I absolutely loved it.
Plus, you had to kind of learn a new gameplay mechanic because he would turn, but slightly slower than you, so you always had to adapt to your jumping.
That's a really good point. And the lights would shake as well. It would never stay completely still. It's definitely the type of levels I like in this game that just throws random stuff in. Very Mario will do this, throw random ideas into a level, and then you'll never see them again. But you'll remember those levels because they're just so awesome. It's definitely a great level. My number 4 is Treetop Town. The first time you go into the treetops, and it just, I'm a huge Star Wars fan of the old Star Wars films, and Treetop Town was obviously always like the Ewok village, and Return of the Jedi, back then was always my favorite Star Wars film. And I just love the Ewoks. I love being on Endor and seeing a level like this. Oh man, I just loved it. It had the vibe, the glowing lights coming out of the huts on the treetops and stuff. It just had such a cool atmosphere to that level, and it was a hard level as well, but not overly hard. Fun secrets to find rolling underneath the treetops themselves, trying to find certain barrels and stuff. I just love that level. I just love the look of it and the sound of it. And what we got? Number 3. All right, number 3 is I'm sure you only see this level once as well, and that's the stop and go station.
We talked about that one too earlier.
Yeah, as much as it gave me a heart attack, the stop and go station was just adrenaline as well. And it was dark. It had like this because the lights, it would change on it from red to green. Like this misty red to green in the background. It almost had a fog to it as well. And you hear the footsteps, and you got the atmosphere, the music in that level as well.
And you weren't fast enough, and then they started running like shit, and you're stuck somewhere and shit. It's terror.
Yeah, and you'll be running over one as this animation is coming up. You're like, please go through, please go through, don't hit me, and it was just.
Never get the transformation sound.
Yeah, and. Those creatures as well. They were just, the rock rocks, aren't they? They were terrifying. Like I said, as much as it scared me, it was just an incredible level, and you had to be fast, and it was just really good. And okay, for my number 2, this has got to be on your list. It's got to be on your list. But this is Minecart Carnage. It is the first Minecart level. I think it's the best Minecart level in the game. And when I think as a kid, I remember all my friends, we all spoke about this minecart level, and once again, it just reminded me of Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Yeah.
You know, and which another film I just love. Everyone chews out that film. I love Temple of Doom, but anyway, get distracted. Minecart Carnage is one of my favorite levels in any video game ever. I just absolutely love it. Like I said, with the music, with the tempo, with the speed, everything it throws at you, how it puts some of the hard to reach letters just at the edge of a track, and you feel yourself, oh god, the amount of times I still fall to this day trying to get some stuff like that. I even still try to get the bananas out of it. You're like, leave the bananas. You don't need the bananas. But you feel like you need to master that level because it's such an important level to you. But Minecart Carnage was just incredible. I never played it.
You have like that thing where like you have a ladder in between and a ravine, so you have to kind of make it go off, and then you jump, and then instantly an enemy comes. You have to jump over it, and then you have to make a jump, put like a cart on the cliff, so you can barely make it. It's brutal. And
then the Kremlins will suddenly appear out of nowhere, bombing towards you. My daughter had a go on this, and she tried hard and hard at it. She didn't complete the level, but she got really far. But watching her just reminded me of how much I used to struggle on that level as well, because it was hard as shit when you first played it. Really hard, but such a good level, so I love it. And my number one level is just jungle hijinks. I just that opening level with the music, with the atmosphere, with the sunset, with the introduction to the game, with going back into Donkey Kong's house to get the extra life, seeing his house and then jumping on, and the music changes to the bonus level, and then you go down into the cave. You see all the bananas are gone. He's like, he's sad and stuff. And I remember
all of that shit is there's little extra things that just cost nothing and it make the game.
Yeah, and I remember role playing when I was a kid. When I used to start the game, because there was no story intro, I used to role play it. I used to go back into my house, jump on a thing, get the extra life, and I just chill there and stuff. And I say to myself, let me go and get some bananas. And then I go down into the cave, and then the bananas are gone. I'll be like, go talk about bananas. And I pretend to run out and then go and try and find my bananas, But that was just my imagination back then, when you were a kid. But I mean, it's just the first. Sometimes in games, sometimes the first levels are just always just the most memorable for many reasons, and it's still just my favorite level today. I just think overall it's just designed just really well with the treetops, with all the secrets, with Rambi and the sunset and everything. And the music, love it.
Yeah.
So go ahead, my friend. What are your 5 favorite stages? Number 5.
So we have 2 in common, actually. You'll see which ones, which is funny considering there's like 50 levels in the game or something like that. On number 5, I have Slipside Ride. It's in the ice world. It's the ice cavern. When you have these crystals in the background, and again, talking about the graphics, this is
it's a good level.
Beautiful screens I feel in the game when you have like the music, which is all echoey, and you see the crystals in the background, and then they do this weird sparkle effect over them.
I tell you what it reminds me of.
So good.
Yeah, so I tell you what it reminds me of just recently as well. Of Hollow Knight. You get to the crystal levels.
Yeah, exactly.
They must have taken it from this level, surely.
It looks like that, exactly. And then it comes with, again, one of those levels, which is a gimmick which only appears in this level, and I think it's so much fun and it's so balls hard, is the ropes that make you automatically go up or down.
Up or down, yeah. They're like red and blue, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. God. I think that level is beautiful and it is challenging, and it just has to go on my list. Like, I played it a week ago, that level, I think, or something, and I came in that and I just instantly wrote it down. So no, I didn't even need to see anything on it. It had to go on the list. I didn't care where, but it had to be on there.
Yeah.
On 4th place, we have one that we have in common, which is the scariest level in the game. It's super creepy, atmospheric, and you're on edge, but I think it is the most fun level, and that's the stop and go station.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be on there, like you said. The sounds of the rock crocks and everything, and just trying to it's like in slow motion. The thing goes on red, and you start running in slow motion. You're jumping for the green barrel. It's just so action packed. I just love that level, man.
It is awesome, really awesome.
3rd place, another one we have in common, and I hate you because this is literally what I wrote down. Treetop Town, Ewok Tree Village level. I mean, it's like you said, it just looks like the fucking Ewok village with,
Yeah, I
with
love
the
it.
awesome, the little lights in the background and the giant multi-layered trees. And what I like about this level is something I don't think I've ever seen any game do. I don't know how it does it. It's one of those things that make it seem like it's a 3D game, but it's not. When you can walk around the trees, but you just hold right. But he walks around the trees, like really on the like platforms that are around the trees.
Yeah,
Like
it's like
I
he
love
goes.
that
I know
stuff.
what you mean. It's like not completely a 2D plane, is it? It's like he goes almost like a slight curve.
Yeah,
I know what you're
exactly.
talking about. Yeah, yeah. But
I love that.
yeah, it's a
On
good notice actually. Yeah.
on number two, I have which I almost put this on number one, but there's a fun gimmick why I didn't put it on number one. But on number two, I have Milestone Mayhem. It is in the second world, I think, or the third one. I don't remember. And this is what you mentioned Indiana Jones earlier. To me, it's like Indiana Jones. It's like you have this temple level.
It's
It is the
like
most.
an Aztec type of level.
Yeah, exactly. It is the most beautiful level I feel overall in the game when you have like the temple and there's the forest you see in the far background. Like in the temple, you have like the vines growing over it and the
Yeah.
torches, and then you have like you gotta swing over the pits and then buildings and then you have to like avoid the beavers and the giant wheels. And again, because the beavers are in the level, and then you have the super mysterious like pan flute music. I love this level so much. When I think of like my favorite levels, this is the first one always that pops in my head though.
I always thought those giant wheels, they're probably stone. They had to be stone, but I always thought they were like giant circles of hay. I could never tell what they were.
I always saw them as I think wood or something. I
Yeah.
think because of the sound they made. I don't know. Yeah, because you couldn't jump on them.
No.
When I started replaying this level, I thought you could jump on them, and I died. I was like, oh crap, you couldn't do that.
Yeah.
And then because that's what again you got the Indiana Jones thing, because then you get in front of the wheels and they run behind you and you have to run away from them and the temple and everything.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Love that level.
Yeah.
But like my favorite level, it combines everything that I love most about this game. You got like the beautiful background, like torches in the background. You got like the blue atmospheric lights in the foreground. You have these walkways. You got the music, and you have Winky. It's Winky's walkway. It's the first level you get Winky in, and I just think it's fun because I like Winky and the jumping mechanic, and this level is built specifically for his jumping, like the platforms, the heights of the platforms, and then you have like the background, like I said, you have these in the far background, these torches that are slowly burning, and in the foreground, these walkways with like these blue swinging lights that go back and
the
forth.
swinging lights are amazing in that level.
Exactly, and then you have like the music with it, and it is by far my favorite level of the game, no question.
Oh, nice. Yeah, well, we seem to be differing quite a bit then, which is nice. I mean, one or two things is always going to happen with this, this type of game, but
it's because you're a Winky hater.
yeah, it's because I'm a Winky. All right, so this is it now. Near the final bat. 5 favorite music tracks from this game, and I guess it's my turn, isn't it, to go.
It's your turn. This one was fucking hard.
It was hard, but I think I'm happy with what I got. So number 5 is Fear Factory. And the Fear Factory is one of the later stages. Actually, is on. I think it plays on Oil Drum Alley, and it's got,
so the second to last world, I think. Yeah,
and it's got such an awesome beat to it. It's like I can't play that. I'll play the soundtracks obviously over this, but it's got such a cool beat to it. It just every time I hear it, I seem to be tapping my feet, and it got those unique snares sounds again, like these high pitched type of noises as well, which I just love from.
Yeah.
It plays a lot in Donkey Kong Country as well, so definitely Fear Factory.
It fits into that thing where we said where the music is built for the level, where you have like this industrial level and you have like an industrial soundtrack while still having that Donkey Kong melody in it.
Yeah,
Such a good
exactly.
level.
And it just absolutely nailed it with that track. Number 4 is Gangplank Galleon. Which, as we know, is the final track to the final level.
Boss fight.
Yeah. Which once again is kind of like a Jungle Higgins type of song where it starts off slow and pacey, with a bit of a beat, and it just keeps it at that, and then as you know, then it just kicks in.
Yeah, it's like the harmonica again. One of those things where it sounds like the instrument is there.
Yeah, it's I mean, when you play that level, it really feels like a final boss level type of music, and that's what you want. We'll talk about briefly. I'll talk about briefly about the bosses in my final thoughts, but it's kind of what you want for that final level, and they just nailed it. I think it's a lot of people's favorite songs. So kind of
because they didn't like cheap out. Often when you have a final boss, people just put like this atmospheric background thing or something, but they create a full fucking song just for this boss fight, and they went all out with it.
Oh yeah, they do, and like with the final boss fight, it's completely different to every other boss fight you've had, and it's not even just different in terms of the boss fights. It's different in terms of the music as well, and I think it's always going to stick with me, and like when we heard that for the reveal of King K. Rool for Smash Bros, it was just it just got me
perfect.
So.
It's a really good remix, the Smash Bros version, the Ultimate one. It's such a good version.
Yeah. Okay, so for number 3, I've got a bit of a strange track here. It's actually the Cave Dweller song. Which is the music that you generally hear in the first cave, which I was talking about earlier. It's like ding ding, you hear the water dropping, and it's not something that most people would listen to. But I'm like a huge Diablo fan as well, and Diablo got a lot of atmospheric music as well. Diablo got one of those soundtracks where they just capture the world perfectly. And it's more audio. Do you know what I mean? More captured audio than music itself, with a few little beats kicked in. But then, like I said, when that music changes up to that one point, oh my god, it's just all day, every day. It just sucks with atmosphere, and I just absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. So yeah, for number 2 then is the DK Island Swing from Jungle Higgins. First level music, which we talked about as well. It starts off with the drums kicking, doom, 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 and it just that's just Donkey Kong. It is literally just Donkey Kong Country in a nutshell.
Now you got like the saxophone, doodly-doo,
and it's pretty much Donkey Kong's theme song now, isn't it?
It is.
We can just all agree it's just his theme song now, which is another accomplishment from Rare, from David Wise and them to create these soundtracks that Nintendo adopt as their main, essentially their main theme songs in some respect for their characters. So DK Swing. And then for number one, I think it's a bit of an obvious one, but the aquatic ambience is just, audio perfection. But the aquatic ambience is just absolutely audio perfection for me. Like I said, one of the greatest underwater songs just ever made. Easy bounce by number one. Just back and forth between Dai Docks, and the atmosphere, just the sound of it is just, it's old, it's ancient, it's atmospheric, it's beautiful, and I just used to leave it on the TV and just listen to it, and that'd be my background music in my bedroom for the whole evening. Absolutely glorious. But yeah, so that's mine. So go ahead, man.
We might have a few in common. This is the only one where I did have an honorable mention. Okay. I wanted to avoid doing that. I hate it when people do that, but I have to do it here because I wanted to mention it, but we already talked about it earlier, and that's the Funky Kong theme. Like and it's also one of the songs like your cave one, where you wait a little bit, it becomes a really good song. But it's not on this list, not because it's not good enough. It's just there's way too many good songs in this game.
I agree.
Way too many. So on my fifth place, I have the Donkey Kong Island Swing. I have it on my fifth place because it's like I love it. I like the calmer parts of the song. The one thing that is weird I felt is that I feel this song, it feels like it's like a compilation of several songs while it is not. Like there's like 4 or 5 completely different parts in it.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah. On fourth place, Gangplank Galleon, of course. It has to be on there. It's like, I like the little harmonica effect and the fact that it starts up really beautiful and you're like, oh, you're on the sea. It feels like a pirate theme, And then you're on the ship and the boss appears and the music goes completely loopy and you're like, yeah, okay, it's a boss fight song, Like you gotta go for it now. On third place, which I think 80% of people have this on number one, but I have it on third place. It's Aquatic Ambience. We talked about it enough already, but it's like it's the greatest underwater theme ever made. It is one of the most atmospheric themes ever made. It is absolutely goddamn perfect, and I love metal remixes people do of Aquatic Ambience. When you think of the electric guitar, and you're like, and it's like it's made for those metal remixes. While by itself, it is just the most soothing song you'll ever hear. I just love it.
Yeah, nice.
Number 2, this is the last one we have in common, I swear. On number 2, I have Fear Factory. I love Fear Factory.
I'm glad you got that in there.
It has to be on there, and I like it better than Aquatic Ambience. I like it when it starts to do, and then you go like the wee, and we get like the calm music effect in it. I think it is such a perfect track. I love how it starts, like I said, like really industrial, like it's built for the level. It's like an industrial theme. You're like, wow, you didn't expect the soundtrack to have that. And then they have like this effect that Aquatic Ambience uses as well. This really slow music effect. It's hard to describe. I can't listen to that song enough.
It's so good.
Aquatic Ambience actually is the song, because you mentioned it several times, that as a kid I used to always go play the game, go to the water level, and then hit pause and just leave it on. Like Aquatic Ambience, I did that with months.
Beautiful.
But number 1, I'm glad you didn't have it on your list. At least
I'm interested. Yeah, I'm interested to see what you got.
Something original. I mentioned it earlier before. Winky's Walkway, to me, we talked about the music making everything global, the perfect atmospheric things.
Yeah.
And I mentioned the written instruments before. I like the pan flute. My favorite song is one of my favorite songs ever. And I swear almost every week for like the last 5 years, I listen to the songs at least once. It's Life in the Mines. Life in the Mines. I love how calm it is and soothing, and it creates this super serene feeling of going through the mines and just walking around, and it has this super awesome pan flute melody. I can't listen to this song enough. It is literally musical perfection.
That's actually a really good track, actually. Like you said, honorable mentions, man. This game is just littered with too many good songs. You know, it's hard to knock them down to 5. But I think we've done well there. You know, selected some really good tracks, because
until the last minute, Life in the Mines will always be number 1 no matter what. But Fear Factory, Aquatic Ambience, I can't play Galleon. I kept jumbling them around, and I think today I listened to all of them several times, and I was like, nah. I gotta be on to it. Fear Factory has to be number 2.
Good choices. Alright, so this is it then. I think we're into our final thoughts. First of all, let me just say thank you for joining me, man. It's been an epic conversation here on Donkey Kong Country. I've actually really enjoyed it. It's been really good. You know, something that I wanted to do on my channel is just to gush and talk about a game where you don't normally get the chance to just sit down and really talk about a game that you love. And hopefully this becomes a trend, and I'll do some more, and people just enjoy them or just pay a little bit of attention. But yeah, so let's go over our final thoughts. I'll let you go first this time, and I'll finish up. But just give me your final thoughts, just overall. How much you love Donkey Kong Country, and just talk, man. Let me hear your final thoughts on DK Country. Preach.
Do I give you some of my negatives in my final thoughts as well?
Absolutely, go ahead.
Okay, so I mean, it's like, when you ask me to do this, like the second you ask me, it's like, it's Donkey Kong Country. It's like, I recently made like my top 10 video games list again, and I put it in number 2. It's one of the greatest games ever made. I love, specifically, this is one of the most important things for me, atmosphere. And there is even above Thought and Kaitos, and yes, I said it, this is the most atmospheric game I ever played, which in part is because of the music and the graphic, the levels, like this little grittiness that Donkey Kong Country lost over time, which just makes this. And like, so it's like, what's good about this game? Like, almost every single thing, we talk about literally everything, like every pixel is just great, we talk about everything. But I did have a few negative thoughts, 2 actually.
Yep.
Sometimes I felt the barrels, specifically the ones that turned in 8 directions, went maybe too fast. I don't know, where sometimes it just didn't actually register the direction I wanted, which made the snow level so hard, I feel. And I mean, it's hard to find negatives in a game that is just this perfect, and it's so much fun talking about it. That's why I like it. As you asked me, it's so much fun talking about this game, but it has one negative for me. And I always hate it, and even now when playing it, I just don't understand it. They add so many little things to the game, like you can go into the cave, to find your bananas missing. There's so many idle animations, so many hidden secrets, and I hate it how lazy they got with the bosses. I don't like it that you had the beaver, the bee, and the bird, and I think all of them were repeated. You have like
they
7
were,
levels, and then you have the drum, which then made it original again. But like, it's like, even if you just use random enemies from the game, like the beaver and the bee, and I don't care, that's a cool idea, but don't repeat them when you have so many cool enemies to choose from. You could have made like the snake giant and slid over the ground that you had to like jump over it, you know, like how you'd have to jump over King K. Rool, something like that. They could have chosen so many enemies, and still now when I play it, I feel the boss variations, it hurts. It hurts.
Yeah, no, I completely agree.
Yeah, like, what I was gonna say, I gotta thank you for inviting me, because even now, before you ask me, when you ask me, while we're doing it, and even when we stop, I feel this Donkey Kong hype in me because I love this game so much, and I shake when I talk about it because I love it so much.
No, it's a great game. But yeah, you know, like I said, I'm glad you came on because, like I said, I wanted to make this, you know, this segment for my channel just to get, you know, people who I know are really passionate, you know, about certain games just as much as I am about, you know, these certain games. And I knew you were Donkey Kong Country mad. You know, I'm Donkey Kong Country mad. So I just thought it was a perfect fusion. But yeah, you know, I think just the game, you know, overall, it's just an absolute delight to, you know, to play and to listen to. You know, I got 2 negatives. You know, I completely agree on the bosses. You know, repeating the bosses, and even, you know, the bosses themselves, they're a little bit weak in terms of their design. You know, you can take out the naughties easily. You know, you learn their patterns pretty easily. I actually think that even though they change up with a dumb drum, I think it's called. I always thought that was a silly, you know, boss design, but at least it was something different, you know. So
that's the thing, and that's what makes it so sad. It is silly, I agree, and I always think it, but you're just happy that you're getting something new again.
Yeah, and obviously overall, then King K. Rool is, you know, is the best boss fight in the game because of the music, because you're on, you know, the pirate ship and all that stuff. You know, it's just.
How about the fact that he screws you over, which I forgot. And I died because of it.
Yeah, with the credits and stuff, you get the question mark at the end. Everyone fell for that the first time, I'm sure.
It's because like you have like the fake credits, but the thing is, back in those days, you had it a lot. Not a lot of games used the actual designer names. Everybody always had like pseudonyms or different names. So you just, the credits are rolling. It's a bit weird. And then the end question mark, like, wow, I mean, there's like bonus shit you can do still. But then he gets up and you die. It's like, what?
And then my only other little negative was possibly just some of the levels repeated themselves in terms of aesthetics. So you see like you know, the treetop level, you know, once or twice. You'll see like the, you know, the plank levels, you know, once or twice. But you know, the water levels. But I still feel like overall they mostly change up enough and add a different, you know, layer over them to make them feel, you know, new. And fresh, so you know, but I think, you know, that's mostly about it. You know, there's a few of it.
That's sorry to interrupt you because you said that. That's the thing I feel that is more forgivable than the bosses, because the levels repeated. But it's like you said, when they repeated a level, something Donkey Kong Country does so well is they add unique gameplay elements. Like they add new gameplay elements. Like for example, you have and I hated that. That's like the second level where I died the most. It's the one where you have this platform on the rails that you have to keep refueling.
Oh yeah, that was a random level as well. Yeah.
Like you have like the refueling platform, like the ropes that go up and down. There's always new gameplay elements, like squawks that just never come back. And some days now, when you have a game that does that, like a Mario, like they just milk them, and you will find the same elements so often that nothing really feels unique anymore. And this game just does it really well.
Yeah, no, I agree. But yeah, overall, I mean, I think we both, you know, absolutely love this game. You know, it was great playing back through it. It was shorter than I remember, but not too short. You know, it's you know, if you want to dig down into trying to find all the secrets, you'll be there for longer. But Donkey Kong Country is by far, you know, one of my favorite games ever. You know, as well, certainly one of my favorite Super Nintendo games. Certainly one of my favorite video game soundtracks ever. And yeah, thanks for joining me, man. It was an absolute pleasure. I had fun.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, it's like just talking. That's what I want to do more as well. I miss when people these days use like news articles, and I just like talking about video games. People don't do that enough anymore, I feel.
Yeah, I completely agree, which is why.
I mean, we did like what, like you wanted 20 minutes, but I'm pretty sure we're at like 2 hours
I
talking
think we
about
had,
Donkey Kong Country.
we had 2 hours now. It depends how many people stick around to it, but you know what? I don't care. It was just fun talking about Donkey Kong Country. We got a video on it. We gushed over it, and we'll
It's like you
continue.
said, it's both one of our favorite games ever, and like
Yeah.
almost everything is good. You want to talk about everything.
Yeah, and we could have been here longer because there's still stuff we could have just kept on talking about. But like I said, it's nice. It's nice to just get it off your chest. We'll continue talking about Donkey Kong Country probably for the rest of our lives, and that's the beauty of video games, and that's why we love talking about them, love playing them, and so thank you very much for joining me, RetroDeath. I hope everyone stuck around, for as long as possible, enjoyed our gushing over what we consider to be one of the SNES's best games, or RetroDeath's second best game ever. And thanks for listening. Take care all, and of course, in the comment section, gush over Donkey Kong as well. Let me know your thoughts, and I'll get back to you as always. But yeah, peace, take care, bye bye, thank you.